Hello there, and welcome to another of Andre's Artist Profiles. Now, in mid-May of last year, 2012 that is, this artist passed away very abruptly of lung cancer. It surprised me more than Michael Jackson, and it wasn't tobacco related. It actually had to do, so conspiracy theorists say, with actually inhaling particles left over from the 9/11 catastrophe. Anyhow, I have some large gaps in my collection involving the Queen of Disco because, number one, a lot of her still in-print 70s classics are relatively hard to find, and number two, a lot of them are just simply out of print. And that's not a good thing because during the somewhat still much maligned disco era, Donna Summer not only was the queen of the genre, but she actually innovated a lot of things within it. With producer Giorgio Moroder and Pete Bellotte, she was actually able to create entire subgenres within the disco dance musical genre. And not only that, she actually created full-on concept albums which had a lyrical theme that went throughout it. Sometimes very meaningful ones. So I think that she's probably the most artful and significant artist of the disco era. But her first album is called Lady of the Night, and I don't have it. And it has nothing to do with disco. It's more of a pop album. But this is the album that most people remember. Her second, and most people think of it as being her debut from 1975. Love to Love You Baby. That's right. This contains the long version with all the sighs and whispers. The 16-minute version. Most of the last half is nothing but that. But this has some extremely funky music on it, like Need a Man Blues. Love to Love You Baby is really funk to begin with. Disco hadn't yet calcified into much of a sound yet. Saturday Night Fever was still a year and a half, 2 years away. So this is really more of a very sleek, sophistifunk album, as it were. But became so strongly associated with the early days of disco. And I'm sure the black gay clubs in New York, they would be playing things like It's Too Funky in Here by James Brown and so on and so forth. Absolutely fell in love with this album right from the beginning. Okay, some gaps here. The next album I have by her is one of her concept albums, I Remember Yesterday. This album actually finds Donna Summer doing music from many different eras. The title song is actually a very 1920s flapper style song, and Love's Unkind actually goes more into a 60s girl group sound. On Black Lady, she's pure funk. Now on I Feel Love, that is an absolutely amazing song. She's anticipating the whole EDM, house techno music before it's even happening. Giorgio Moroder is an absolute genius. And Donna Summer was ingenious herself for becoming involved in that. And this is a spectacular album in that it actually shows musical innovation. Something you can't say for a lot that came out in the disco era. And it's one of my favorite Donna Summer albums of the 70s. Her next album was originally a double, but is now a single, Once Upon a Time. Now, this particular album is a concept album, which starts out in the beginning more a live band sound, and the last half of it is much more electronic. This actually, I think, has some singles, but it's more of an album-style release. Everybody who knows about Donna Summer know about that picture very well. It's a concept about a disco fairy tale princess kind of living that life in New York and experiencing all of that kind of business. Excellent album, by the way. This album came out in 1979, and this is probably Donna Summer's most famous, and many consider it her best album, Bad Girls. On this particular album, Donna Summer took a much more of a pop rock kind of edge on some songs. You know, Hot Stuff. Even Bad Girls is more of a funky song with horns and really fat guitar line. And on Sunset People, the electro sound comes back into play. But it is a great album. This is the deluxe edition. That's the back of it. But there's a number of outtakes and longer versions on this album of different cuts. Recommended if you want Bad Girls to get this version. But if you don't have any Donna Summer and you just have greatest hits or something, get this album. It's more than worth it. Okay, this album, this is one of my favorite Donna Summer albums. It was made in 1981, but didn't come out until 1996. My favorite song on here is a song called I Believe in You. This actually is sort of a midway between, you know, early 80s dance pop and, well, boogie funk, actually. Giorgio Moroder produced this, I think his last album with her. Unfortunately, this CD, even though it looks okay, is actually cooked and skips a lot of way through it. I guess I put it in a bad CD player. I have to replace that album. It's one of my favorites, but it's getting rare, so I have to go look for this. It's a fantastic album. Made in 81, released in 1996. The next album by her I have is All Systems Go from 1987. She did a lot of music with Brenda Russell on this album. She wrote Dinner with Gershwin. It's a really good late 80s dance pop album. If you like Paula Abdul, Janet Jackson's Control, stuff like that, performed in Donna Summer's inimitable way, this is a great album to have. Anyway, you can see the artwork even looks a little bit like Control. You know. Anyway, her next album, there's a little sticker there, I'm sorry it's used, was All Systems Go in 1991. This was at a time where a lot of artists were doing kind of, you know, house music and new jack swing, and this album is no different. It was Donna Summer's last album for a very long time. Anyway, sorry about the price tags. But this album came very unexpectedly in 2008. Crayons. My favorite cuts on here are actually Going Down Brazil is one of my favorites. And at first I didn't really care for this album. I thought it was trying to be way too contemporary, but when I heard it the second time, I absolutely fell in love with it. I mean, I think actually my opinion is the opposite, and unfortunately this is going to have to be Donna's final album because she passed away very suddenly. So that's what I have for Donna Summer. Interestingly enough, I'm doing another artist profile today with another artist who at least has Summer in the name. But you're going to find out about them in a minute. Wink, wink, wink. So anyway, happy birthday posthumously to Donna Summer. And she will be missed. See you next time.